Hi, it's Janine and Jen from Ready Together, and today we have Nadine Richardson from She Births. Hi. Thank you so much, Nadine, for giving us some of your precious time.
No, you're welcome. Thanks so much for having me. I love what you guys are doing. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
We're doing we're trying to give a little bit of information on our page about what the different birth education options are out there for people. And I guess where we want to kick off today is if you could just let us know who you are and how you got into She Births.
Yeah, absolutely. So, She Births, I suppose, formulated as a little concept in the back of my head 18 years ago when I was giving birth to Leroy, my son. And after doing like 12 weeks of independent birth education, my partner and I came out of the labour and it was like, oh my God, what was that? Nothing in those nights on those mouldy cushions in that fluorescent lit room prepared us for that experience, and we'd apparently done the best course around. So in the back of my head, I was really wondering what was going on with birth and why it became complicated for some people, why it was more painful for others. And I just wanted to learn everything that I could. And in that learning and work as a doula, working at the coalface for hours and prenatal yoga and thousands of families, I started formulating the She Births program really as a response to my community. And it's this really awesome, holistic, comprehensive, and most evidence-based program, the only true evidence-based program around, because we've got the randomized control trials to prove that when we give She Births, as opposed to standard hospital education to almost 200 couples in Sydney hospitals, you see a 44% reduction in Caesars and a 65% reduction in epidurals, and a 53% reduction in resuscitation of babies. So, happy days. It's good that it all worked out. And She Births is baby number 2.
That's so awesome. And at the moment, because I know that we do the person-to-person in the classroom education, but right now, as we're not able to do that, how's She Births running now?
She Births has got Zoom weekend courses now. So the weekend course has been reduced in price, and it's me delivering like this in a really interactive way, with me like looking at couples when they're doing the acupressure and saying, no, a little lower for that glute massage point, all that kind of stuff when we're practicing. So that's kind of like our premium program. And then we've got the full online course where people can just go through the information. And it's self-led, and that might be a good way to go through for someone. I hear lots of mums are doing it, and then like just showing their partner the video on massage and the video on acupressure, just to try and slowly entice them in. They might not want to know the whole lot around birth preparation. It's only 10 hours of learning that we call it the core curriculum, and then there's another 10 to 20 of sort of extra enhancing curriculum that's optional. So that's our other option. And then we've created like a mini birth basics program as well in the COVID time, half price as well. Yeah. And we've got our free prenatal yoga, and we've got birth stories on Thursday nights, and on Instagram and Facebook, we've got, little sharing circles and all sorts going on. Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. And that was one of the other questions I had, sort of how long you said it. So it's 10 hours of the core curriculum.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then is there ongoing learning that people can do after they've had the...
Yeah, I think it's really important to enhance that kind of learning with practical examples. It's really important, as we all know, the power of story. Yeah. Because when we hear a story, the natural and the original way that we learn as human beings, you're actually 36 times more likely to remember that information when it's woven through a story. So we have a huge catalogue of wonderful birth stories that we've been, collating over 12 years, of all different births, because the cool thing is that every birth is totally unique, right? Like every human being is. But you want to know how you can take those principles and the tools from She Births and apply them into your own unique unfolding. And I think that's really, there's such a powerful learning that happens through those stories, and also through the visualizations, and lots of little PDF cheat sheets and birth preferences that we've got now in like visual icons that are really simple to like whack on the front door of the hospital room or on the table.
Yeah.
You want something that's like really quick, easy to communicate,
Yeah.
something that's really quick for you to put together that makes sense for you and your partner as well. So lots of different versions of that. So there's lots of cool stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with birth stories when there's so much negative stories around these days. So to immerse yourself in some positive stories, and like you say, they're all different, but positive experiences and positive stories, it makes such a difference in your confidence, I think, going in.
Yeah, and you know, a positive birth story doesn't mean it's a natural orgasmic water birth. Right?
Yep, absolutely. Yep, it's people feeling empowered and in control. Yeah,
engaged in decision making. You know, when we have the epidural, when we are needing to be induced or augmented with Synto, like, do we understand why? Have we made a conscious decision around that? Like, you know, that Janine as a doula, that's what we're supporting people with all the time.
Yeah.
But you know, without knowledge, we can't overcome our fear, and without knowledge, you can't make a conscious decision. So you have to know what questions to ask, which I'm sure all your pregnant women are experiencing when they go to their antenatal appointments. You got any questions? And they're like, I don't know.
You don't know what you don't know.
So true.
You don't know what you don't know. That's right. DK.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's so true. So I guess we're just kind of final question, and it's the big one. You know, why do you think, what would you say to people who are considering birth education? Why is birth education so important?
Because we haven't actually been normalized towards birth. 200 years ago, us ladies and the local women and our sisters and our aunts and our mothers would have all hung out together, and we would have watched each other give birth, and we would have supported at births. And we would have learned through that beautiful hands-on experience, or just a visual experience as a young girl, how labour looks, how it unfolds, how it's different, how you can use different strategies at different times. There's a wealth of wisdom around birth, and we would have celebrated it, not feared it. And right now we are in a different world. We've got careers, we sit at computers, we have Hollywood, one born every minute, filling our minds with fear and medicalized traumatic events. So we just want to give people a kind of ancient education in a modern evidence-based way. So that's why birth ed is critical now, so that you can approach birth in a confident way and know that it's normal and it's awesome.
I love that, and I see it in my hospital classes, where often one of the questions I ask is, has anybody ever seen someone breastfeed a newborn? And usually no one has. And it's the same thing. Once upon a time in the village, you would have seen birth, you would have seen breastfeeding, and so we are so removed from it. And you know, the more preparation you can do for all of this, the better. And
for the partners as well, because they're even one step further removed, and so bringing them in like you do in the course is really awesome.
I think that's a really good point, Janine. Like you're one step removed, but we're being asked them to be like 10 steps closer.
Yes.
Asking them to catch our babies. And the poor blokes, most of them blokes, not all of them, right? Poor partners don't know like what to do. And I think that's criminal to send them in there without some knowledge, some skills, some tricks, you know, even just some ways to ask questions and advocate for mum. And you can only do that when you feel confident and when you have some knowledge.
So agree. Absolutely.
Right. Well, thank you so much, Nadine, for your time. We really appreciate it. It was really good to talk to you today.
Thanks, Jen, and thanks
for wonderful.
me. We love
no
you guys.
problem. Oh, you too. Thank you so much. Okay.